how many times have I told you change is the only constant in the universe? Well, on today's show, we're going to talk about the most recent big change happening in human resources, because that's what we do here. My name's Pandy Pridemore. I'm your hostess here at the Human Resource, and today we're going to talk about the most recent announcement just put out by the Division of Wage and Hour. And I have to be really truthful with this one. I'm going to have to do a lot of reading right off the regs for this one, because we're going to talk about how Wage and Hour views the popular conversation of independent contractor versus W-2 employee. And you know what's crazy is I just had Faith Whitaker from Dinsmore on the show here a couple weeks ago talking about these regs and talking about how you need to be very cautious in determining whether somebody is actually a W-2 employee and yet you're paying them on a 1099. Well, I have a field assistance bulletin dated May 1st of 2025, and which is now considered fact sheet number 13. But I also wanted to just kind of intro this with the announcement that many of us just got and received. So let me go through this. The FLSA Independent Contractor Misclassification Informants Guidance has been published, which provides guidance to the Wage and Hour Division field staff on the analysis to apply when determining employee or independent contractor status for the purposes of enforcing the Fair Labor Standard Act. Now remember, Fair Labor Standard Act is how do we pay individuals? Are they eligible for overtime? Are they not eligible for overtime? And if someone is classified and is being paid as a 1099, they are not getting overtime for the most part. And Wage and Hour is viewing this very seriously under the new administration. So they've published an opinion letter, FLSA 2025-2, reinstating the opinion letter, FLSA 2019-6, which addresses virtual marketplaces as well. Now, here's the deal. A number of lawsuits were pending in federal courts challenging the legality of the rule entitled Employee or Independent Contractor Classification under the Fair Labor Standard Act 89 Fed.Reg 1638, which is the 2024 rule. Let's just simplify it. That addressed the analysis for determining employee or independent contractor status under the Fair Labor Standard Act at the time. Well, the department has taken the position that those lawsuits need to have caused this reconsideration of the 2024 rule, including whether they should rescind the legislation altogether. So, the above referenced litigation is now pushed to the side. And the Wage and Hour Division will no longer apply the 2024 rules analysis when determining employee versus independent contractor status in FLSA investigations. So what they have done and what you need to be aware of is that they have published this fact sheet, which I have here in front of me, fact sheet number 13, and it specifically reiterates what you need to be using to evaluate whether someone is being properly paid. It's even published that the U.S. Supreme Court has a number of occasions where they just have made it very clear there is no single rule or test for determining whether an individual is an independent contractor or an employee for the purposes of FLSA. But if you have to look at what the individual is doing as a whole and you look at the total activity, what do we need to be looking at? So fact sheet 13 will give you these factors by which to consider as significant indicators. Number one, the extent to which the services rendered are an integral part of the principal's business. Now, Faith went through this a couple weeks ago, so this is not a surprise. How dependent are you on that individual? Can your business run without them? If I'm having somebody come in and paint, and my business is dog washing, he's not an integral part of my business at all. But if the individual is someone I've brought in to do the dog washing, entirely different story. Number two, how about the permanency of the relationship? I had a company who had a 1099 on their books for years. And I kept stressing with him, he's not a 1099, he's a W-2. You depend on him for that work, and you're selling his services as your part of your business. Permanency is like putting the webbed feet on a duck. You got to be really careful about that. How about number three? The amount of the alleged contractor's investment in facilities and equipment. Are they bringing their own truck, or do they have to drive yours? Are they bringing their own tools, or are they using yours? Number four, the nature and degree of control by the principal. Are they the boss, or are you? And it's okay to get instructions. I'm told all the time, this is what my client needs. But can that client tell me what time to wake up in the morning, what time to be in his office, and when I can take my lunch? How about number five, the alleged contractor's opportunities for profit or loss? And I told you a story here a couple of weeks ago, maybe it was on Faith's show, about how one of my clients used service installers. So we went to the service installers and said, hey, we want invoices. We want to know your price lists. We want you to, if you're an independent contractor, if you're an actual independent business, we need to see your marketing materials and how you price. How much control do you have? I, as your client, should not be telling you what you're going to get paid. Number six, the amount of initiative, judgment, or foresight in open market competition with others required for the success of the claimed independent contractor. The amount of initiative, judgment, or foresight in open market competition. Are they an entrepreneur? Are they actually running a business with other clients? Are they competing with other companies? Or are they depending on you for their revenue? And the last one, number seven, the degree of independent business organization and operation. You see, this even in here, that's even basically saying, look, are they carrying their own general liability insurance? Are they carrying their own workers' comp? There are certain factors which are immaterial in determining whether there is an employment relationship. And those things are like, where's the work being performed? Is there an absence of a formal employment agreement? And we've talked about, if you've been listening to the shows previous, we talk about a statement of work. We talk about them invoicing. And what about if the independent contractor is licensed with the state or local government and they are actually with a tax ID number and they're paying their own taxes? You know, it's not surprising to know that this stuff is constantly changing. But at the same time, the real question is, are you able to keep up with it? Because basically what this means is you're going to have to sit down with all your 1099s, if you have them, and go over these rules. Make sure they understand what their responsibility is if they are an independent contractor, if they are an independent business. You have the right. You now have the responsibility to make sure that they're acting like it. Remember, that's fact sheet number 13 under the division of wage and hour. If you need help finding it, just let me know. I'm here for you. We all are. At the Human Resource.